Hey, it's Jonathan McGinley, the owner and founder of Intentional Man, an organization that exists to inspire and equip men to live intentionally, pursue God-sized goals, and build lives of significance. One of the most important pieces, and honestly, the place that you need to start when building a highly intentional life, is having extreme clarity. It's pretty much impossible to be intentional if you don't know what you're supposed to be about. Imagine that you were hired to build somebody's dream house, but they didn't give you any blueprints. They didn't give you any instructions on what the house was supposed to look like or the function of the house, anything along those lines. You have no idea how many rooms or bathrooms they're supposed to be. You don't know what they're going to use it for. You don't know their styles or their preferences. You're just told, hey, build us our dream home. In this scenario, you can wake up each day. You can make a plan for the day. You can be efficient with your time. You can remove distractions. You can be really focused. You can work harder than anyone else. You can use all the latest tips and tricks on home building. But almost guaranteed, you're going to end up with a house that's not what the original people envisioned. They had a picture of their dream home, and most likely it's not going to be exactly what they pictured. Now, we all know this would be crazy for somebody to expect you to build their dream home without the blueprints or without a clear vision of what the house is supposed to be like. But oftentimes, we go about building our lives in that exact same way. So that's why intentional living has to start with clarity. You have to know what your priorities are. You have to know what's most important to you, what you value. You have to get clear on God's purposes for your life and what He says is a valuable use of your time, your talents, and your money. You have to get a clear long-term vision so you know what you're working towards. You have to know the way that you want to interact with people, how people want to describe you. And on a daily basis, you're going to have to be clear on how you should spend your time and what you should be focused on. So just like that house example, you could be the hardest working man in every single room. You could be the most efficient. You could be the most productive. But if you don't know what you should be working on or what you want your life to be about, you could very easily get to the end of your life and realize you were spending all your time and energy on things that weren't actually the most important to you. In the times in my life where I've been the most passive, where I've been the most complacent, those are the times where I've had the least amount of clarity. And there's lots of different elements of clarity that we're going to continue to unpack. But today I want to focus on one specifically, and that's your priorities. Your priorities, what's most important to you. Do you know what your main priorities in life are? Have you actually taken time to clearly define what's important to you? And then have you made sure that your life is actually in alignment with those priorities? I know this can sound pretty basic. It's easy to know this is how you should live, right? But to actually live in alignment with what you say is the most important to you can sometimes be a whole nother thing. As a man, you have so many different roles. You have so many responsibilities in life. You're juggling so many things, and you have so many things that you could spend your life on. And on top of that, you're bombarded with distractions all day long. There's so many things competing for your attention all the time. There's so many people who are competing for your attention. There's so many different options of ways that you could spend your time. It can feel overwhelming, right? I'm sure that there are so many times where you feel like you don't have enough time in the day to do everything that you want to do or to spend time on the things that are the most important to you. I know for me, if I'm not intentional and clear about what matters the most, in all honesty, I'm going to waste my time on things that don't matter that much. Honestly, just recently, I was in a funk. I was wasting way too much time on things that didn't really matter. If you followed my time, if you followed my finances, they weren't really going towards the thing that I would tell you that mattered the most to me. And those two things actually are really good indicators of what's a priority in your life. Follow your schedule. See where your time is actually being spent. Then follow your finances. If you follow those two things, you're usually going to get a pretty good picture of what you're actually making the most important in your life, even if that's not purposeful. By no means would I have chosen to purposefully spend my time reading or watching or playing sports. But when I take an honest look at like where my time was actually going, that's where it was being eaten up. The constant distractions on my phone were adding up. Reading sports articles, spending time on social media, watching sports highlights, watching TV, watching games, whatever it is for you, that can be so easy to just fill up your time if you're not intentional. And the amount of money that then I was spending on entertainment, things to just fill my time, things that I thought were fun, not bad things, but you can see a lot of my money was being spent on things for my pleasure, for my entertainment, and not on things I would necessarily say were the most important. When you're unclear of your priorities and you live a reactionary lifestyle instead of a proactive one, it's really easy to let those meaningless things kind of slip in and dominate your life more than you would even realize. And if you were to ask me what the most important thing in my life was, I would for sure tell you it's God. He's my number one priority. But then if you looked at my time, where my attention was, where my focus was, that wasn't exactly what my life was saying. That wasn't the story that my life was saying. There would have been some evidence in my life. There has to be evidence in your life that backs up what you say is your number one priority. If you asked me if pursuing my passions and dreams were more important to me than entertainment, I'd obviously say yes. But then if you looked at my time, if you looked at my finances, that might not have been the case. And this can happen so quickly and so easily if you're not intentional. And so that's why I talk about living a proactive lifestyle instead of a reactive lifestyle all the time. Because when you let your mood, your circumstances, or your feelings just run your life, you usually end up letting those distractions get the best of you without even realizing it. It's very easy to end up being so focused on work that you don't leave enough time for your most important relationships. It's so easy to get so sucked in by your phone or by television that you don't invest in your health or whatever else it might be. Taking time to get clear on your priorities is a great way to take a step back and to get clear on what you want your life to be about, to make sure it's being spent on the things that are most important to you, and to make sure that you're aligning yourself with God's purposes and what He says is the most important thing in your life. So here's a simple exercise that I'd encourage you to do. When I realized I wasn't living in alignment with what I said I was that mattered the most to me, I did this exercise, and it really has helped me tremendously since then. So here it is. Step one, just get a piece of paper. You can even do your phone. I recommend a piece of paper, but just take time to list out all the priorities in your life, the roles, the responsibilities you have. Just actually get these down on paper, and actually identifying them is so helpful. So write down the things that you consider to be the most important to you. Then just write down your other responsibilities. So some categories you can think through would be spiritual, relational, career, financial, health, fun, just things you enjoy doing, family, friends, etc. It could be, don't worry about having this perfect or having it in order here at the jump. Just brainstorm and write everything down. Okay, once you do that, once you have those things written down and identified, then you're going to rank them in order of importance. So, what are the things that are truly the most important in your life? Think about what's going to be truly lasting. What do you want your life to truly be about? Take some time to think through this carefully. And honestly, I would definitely recommend bringing God into this process. Spend some time in prayer and asking Him to reveal what's most important. Make sure that your priorities are truly in line with what He says is the most important and not just the things that we necessarily think we should go after. Ask Him to check your motives. Make sure that they're pure. Also, this is a great time to make some cuts on things that you don't necessarily need to make a priority. So take a look at that original list that you just brainstormed. Cut anything out that doesn't need to be there. One of the best ways to actually find time to focus on what matters most is to eliminate things that aren't necessary. Usually we try to add things, but some of the best things that you can do is find the things that you shouldn't be spending time on and just cut those out. And that will provide some more margin and space to do the things that are the most important to you. So after you've done that, the next step 3 here, is then you're going to be writing down the main activities that you need to do for each one of those priorities for it to actually be a reality in your life. So what I mean by activities, for example, if you have God as your number one priority, I want you to write down the activities that you need to do to have Him be a major focus of your life. So that could be things like daily time with God, consistent times of worship and prayer, going to church on Sundays. Maybe it's getting in a small group or going on prayer walks during the workday, reading spiritual books or memorizing scripture. Those are just some examples of things that you could write down there, things that would make sure that God is a number one priority in your life. If you have your family as number 2, then write down the things you need to consistently do to make sure you're investing in your family. So that could be a weekly date night with your wife. It could be going to your kids' sporting events, praying together, going to church together, having meals together, reading to your kids before bed. Just think through the activities that are truly going to bring your family closer. Identify them, write them down. It's so easy to say God and relationships are the most important things in your life. And I believe you truly mean that when you say it. I mean it too. But then it's too easy to then get distracted by other things, and they end up falling down on your priority list. We want to be intentional. We want to be intentional men. We want to be proactive. So don't leave those things to chance and just hope that you prioritize them as you go through your week. You got to identify what you need to do consistently to give those things the time and attention that they need. So then once you have your list and you've identified your activities, then there's two things that I want to just encourage you to do. So two things once you have this list and your activities. I want you to review it regularly. What's out of sight is typically out of mind. It's really easy to identify them, set it, forget about it. So find a time to regularly review it. And then the next is to actually put those activities in your schedule. We do what we schedule. If it's not in your calendar, then it's easy for urgent things to come in or for distractions to come in and take precedence. So, and then when you review this regularly, it's just going to keep you focused. You're not going to do everything perfectly when you first start, and that's okay. That's expected. You're not going to do every single activity perfectly the first week, but when you review it often, you can see where things are going well. You can see where you need to make adjustments. This is so crucial to just keep it in front of you, to keep getting a little better, keep coming back and make sure that you're making the things that are most important to you a priority in your week. So that entire exercise, those steps I just gave you, it's only going to take about 30 minutes. About 30 minutes, and it can radically transform your life. Having this list for me has been so helpful. I look at it at the end of each week and just check to make sure my time, my attention, my money is actually going where I say my priorities are. Again, I don't do this perfect by any means, but that review helps me kind of consistently realign, and I'm growing and getting better over time. And that's what we want to be about. It's not about perfection. We're about making progress. It's about when you make mistakes, you come back, you remember what's most important, and then you realign with it. It's reminded me to give God more time, to give relationships more time. And the more and more that you live in alignment with your true values and your priorities, the more confident you're going to be, the more energized and engaged you're going to be in life, and the more you're going to be truly building a life that you know you're going to be proud of when you get to the end. So I hope this was helpful for you. This exercise has truly been life-changing for me, and it continues to be as I review it often. I'm right there with you working on this. If you've done anything similar or have any other helpful ideas, please throw them in the comment section. I'd love to hear them. And if you think that this might benefit somebody that you know, please share it with them. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so grateful for you. I believe in you. You were made to do something great because God made you, and He doesn't make mistakes. So go live a life you're proud of by living intentionally.